I'm not sure if you guys know this or not, but it is in fact tricky. What's up, everyone? It's me, 12 Tides, and today we're going to be taking a look at something that's really special to me, something very near and dear to my heart. We're going to be taking a peek behind the curtain at some of the most well-hidden secrets in my favorite game of all time, SSX Tricky. So one thing I do want to clarify before jumping into the video here is that I'm not going to be showcasing all of the shortcuts on every level. I'm just kind of picking my favorite things about the game, some of the more hidden things or certain mechanics in the game that aren't really well explained or well known. So if you would like to see a video that showcases all of the shortcuts in every level, just leave a like, leave a comment, and if there's enough interest, I'd be more than happy to make a video showing all of the shortcuts in SSX Tricky. Now, without much further ado, let's get into the secrets of SSX Tricky. Hello friends, welcome to SSX Tricky. This is a game I have been playing competitively since about 2008. And today we're going to dive into the secrets of the game, little things that a lot of people might not know, don't know about the game. I just kind of wanted to show off the depth of this game because despite the fact that it's only 10 levels, is a pretty deep game overall. So the first thing that I want to explain is even though we're not going to be going for competitive runs here, we're going to be using Mac. And the reason why we're going to use Mac is because Mac has a trick stat of 49, which means he spins very fast. There are 3 other characters that tie him in this game for that statistic, but Mac also has the hidden statistic of he has the highest jump in the game as well, which is very important overall. And I'm just speaking about show off here. If you wanted to talk about race, you would either be looking at Brody or Elise, depending on the level, because they're both very, very fast. And Elise is a little bit better at sharper turns than Brody. So if you go through levels that have a lot of sharp turns in them, you're going to prefer Elise over Brody. But Brody is a faster character than Elise overall. So we're going to dive into the first level here, Garibaldi.
You're welcome to Garibaldi.
Okay, so I don't want to show off too many shortcuts, but I think there's 2 really interesting ones in Garibaldi that I really want to show off. So this first one here is really kind of unique in that the game devs purposely put it like well off the beaten track. Like there's not really a good area to get into this area. And that's going to be up here. So we're going to take this jump and we're going to jump over here next to this billboard. And then you're going to see that there's actually an ice cave. So something I just want to point out quickly before the video begins again here is that if you actually stay up on this level and don't go into the ice cave, you'll be riding a ridge of mountains. And this route is actually used for a certain distance in competitive race mode. Over here, despite the fact that there's no signs or anything to get you here. It's a neat little hidden thing, but it doesn't really have any uses in the actual game itself. Okay, so there are many shortcuts in SSX Tricky. Like I said, we're not going to be going over all of them, but this one that I'm about to show you, in my opinion, is one of the more hidden shortcuts in the whole game. Garibaldi is one of the unique levels to this game. There were 8 levels in the original SSX on the PlayStation 2, but in SSX Tricky there are 10 levels with the additions of Garibaldi and Alaska, and both Garibaldi and Alaska have like tons and tons of shortcuts into them. They definitely gave them a lot of love. So the first thing we're going to do to get to this shortcut is we're going to go off through this blue sign over here, and this is going to get us into the back country. And this is just kind of the standard back country over here. But what we're going to do is we're going to stick on the path to the right. So we're going to take it kind of slow here. So in this section here, you're going to see that the path actually divides into 3 sections here. There's a path all the way on the left, there's a path in the center, and then there's a path on the right. And the path on the left and in the center will take you to the same place. But the path on the right is the one that we're going to be taking over here, because the path on the right can also take you to where these other 2 paths take you. However, this area right here, right where this rock is, you'll see that it actually splits off over to this section over here. And this is the hidden area that I was talking about. It's not very long, but it has a very unique topography to it. And then right about here, it brings you back into, but it kind of lets you up onto a higher path over on this side. So I just wanted to clarify this part because I felt like I explained it quite poorly while we were streaming. And that is, when you stay right initially on the first path, you have to continue to stay right until you see a second hidden path. You have to follow both paths on the right in order to reach the secret area. And just this area in general is not an area you see explored a lot, and it continues onto this section over here. And this is the only way to get to this section in the entire level. Unfortunately, there's no advantages to it, and you can tell it's a secret because the secret music is playing. I'll turn that up for you right now so we can all hear what the secret music sounds like in this game when you take a secret path. So there's a lot. So there's like some pretty interesting stuff there. So basically the path continues to branch to the right, but there comes a point when the game kind of makes it non-obvious that you can just continue sticking to the right area. It's just a fun little area to explore. Kind of looks like some ideas for some Untracked. Here's a really weird feature. I just find that like rock sticking out is very, very unique. And then this is where it brings us back into the path, and it starts it with a really big jump here. The thing about Garibaldi is there's a lot of shortcuts, but it's like a lot of them are very obvious, and I really just wanted to show that one off because it's really not obvious. So I guess, okay, so this is something else that I can show off here that's pretty interesting. And this does occur on a lot of levels, but it's very prominent on Garibaldi. So we're near the end of the track here, and the finish line is just down here. Now, normally we would take the main line here, which is directly in front of us, and that would bring us down. It kind of brings us down and around to the finish line. But what you can actually do is you can actually just ride on the snow, like way in this direction, and it'll allow you to actually cross the finish line very early like that. And that is actually useful in a competitive sense, because that is how they cross the finish line in competitive race modes, is by kind of just hugging that snow wall there all the way to the finish line. Just because I didn't have a good segue here, I just wanted to clarify that where we are here in Garibaldi is immediately at the starting area to the left instead of going off the big jump. You have to jump over the fence that's blocking your path in order to get here. This is just an area right by the starting line. You can ride the snow over here. So this is the famous Garibaldi jump right there in the beginning. But we're just like way to the left of that now. Kind of reach some fun little areas over here. We're just cameras clipping out of bounds there. But there's nothing really over here, but it is fun. Ah, I knew it was going to reset me. I was going to try and jump over the reset line there. Next thing that I'm going to show off here is something that isn't specific to any level in particular. This is something that all the characters can do in the game, and this is what's known as tweak canceling. And tweak canceling is very, very important, especially in competitive show-off mode, which is the mode that I primarily compete in. And so how this works is, in this game, you can do grab maneuvers, and then by pressing the B button right here, it's square on the PS2 controller, you can tweak the trick. Now, the interesting thing about this is that if you tweak the trick and then let go of all of the buttons at once, you will perform what's known as a tweak cancel, and this has very unique properties that are very, very useful. We're about to see them. And this is the fastest way to build your meter in the game. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So first I'm going to show you what this should look like normally, the way the devs intended it to. So we're going to do the trick, the experimental, which is the trick when you hold down all of the buttons in the game, plus the tweak button, the unethical experimental. Okay, here we go. So this is how it normally looks. You can see my scores rising there. And then I let go of the buttons, and the score didn't continue to rise there. Let's just get one more look at that. So first I'm going to do the trick, and then I'm going to stop doing the trick. And you see that our score, as we stop doing the trick, doesn't rise. We just fall down until we land. Okay, so now I'm going to do a tweak canceled trick. And how this is going to look is I'm going to do the trick, I'm going to stop doing the trick, but my score is going to continue to rise. And it looks like this. And you can see that even though I'm not doing any trick maneuver, the score just continues to rise and rise. And even though we didn't do anything but for a fraction of a second, we have a full meter now. Just one more time for good measure. Like that. So what I'm going to show off here about the tweak cancel is just how fast you can build your meter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 tweak cancels just on the ground. And then we're going to do a normal unethical experimental on the ground. And you can just see how the difference, how much the difference is when you build your meter. So I just did 2 there. So you can see that we got all the way to the red part of the meter there on the side. And then if I just do a normal experimental here, you're going to see it's going to be far less meter than that. So we only got halfway through the orange meter as opposed to getting up to all the way to the red meter there. And being able to build your meter instantaneously is critically important to this game. So here I mentioned it briefly that it is critically important to build your meter quickly in this game. But the reason why it's critically important to build your meter so quickly is you want to start being able to do Uber moves as fast as possible in competitive show-off mode. Sometimes you need to be doing Ubers within the first jump, so being able to build your meter before the first jump allows you to score a lot bigger tricks.
This is a Snowdream.
So there's not much to show off in Snowdream as a level overall. It's pretty small. And there's not like a ton of shortcuts. The game makes it pretty obvious where they are. But this is pretty late in the track of Snowdream here, and I really wanted to show off 2 things about this area. So the first thing that we're going to show is that there's an invisible object in the course over here, which can really mess up your day if you're not careful. So we're just kind of here, and the invisible object is right over here. We're going to hit it. There it is. One more time. Ugh. Okay, so something else in this area that I wanted to show off, and I'm doing it just for Kellicat. Shoutouts to Kellicat, who's in the chat. I just want to take a little bit of time to give an extra shout out to Kellicat here. Kellicat has done some absolutely amazing work with this game in the previous years and continues to do so. So I'll definitely link Kellicat's YouTube account in the description below. And the fence on the left over here, if we hit it with enough speed at the right angle, and this is a GameCube exclusive, we will actually clip through the fence. And originally, this used to be used in the old race route. Thank you for that info, Kellicat. So let's see if we can do it. There we go. Got it. So yeah, just some bad collision there. And again, that's just a GameCube exclusive right there.
Oh yes, this is the Elysium Alps.
So what we're going to do here is, if you've ever seen any recent runs of Elysium Alps, or if you've watched any of Kellicat's tasks, you know what we're about to see. But it is really, in my opinion, one of the coolest things. So because, you know, the devs got a little bit of sloppy with programming it here and there, they basically left some objects underneath the levels. Now, what we're about to see is unique because of all the objects that are underneath the courses, this is the only one that's actually obtainable for some odd reason. So what we're going to do first is, we've already built our meter here, and we're coming off to the side. And step one is we're going to go to this center candy cane rail, and we're going to get on it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grind backwards, which is just how this game works, by pressing the boost button here, and the rail is actually going to take us underground here and clip outside of the normal bounds of the game. Like that. So what is about to happen is really, really strange. So let's just see it, and then I'll explain it. So you might have just noticed that we just flew by a multiplier that was just underneath the level. And what you may have noticed is that there was also a ramp there. So now I am going to actually strike and get that multiplier. And because it's out of bounds, but because it's obtainable, this multiplier is actually used in the show-off route for SSX Tricky. Let's see if we can get it. I think that was good. There we go. So it looks like a 2 times, but as I'm about to show you here, is it's actually more than just a 2 times. Okay, I'm going to pause it here, and what we're going to do is I'm going to switch the camera angle to the free roam camera here in the replay mode, and we can get a better look at this multiplier. So here is the beginning of the level. You can see that the pillars extend pretty far underground. That's pretty normal for a lot of the game. And you can kind of see that, you know, some of the level isn't loaded over there yet. So the only reason why this multiplier is obtainable is because of this ramp right here. And it's kind of a difficult multiplier to get because of that reason, because you need to exit the rail that takes you underground at a very specific speed and jump off at a very specific point, because if you don't, you will pop up back in bounds and you'll just bail the trick right away, or you will just completely miss landing on the ramp here. And if you miss landing on the ramp, you just won't get it, even if you strike the multiplier, because you have to reset back in bounds. So a couple interesting things about this multiplier is you can actually see that it's not just a 2 times, it's actually a 5 times inside of a 3 times inside of a 2 times. As I adjust the camera here, you can kind of see the models are kind of flickering hard there. And they all spin at the same speed, but this actually taught us a couple things about the game for certain. Number one, that 5 times multipliers, 3 times multipliers get progressively smaller here. So you can see that the actual hitbox of the 5 times exists entirely within the 2 times multiplier here. And even more interestingly than this is the actual hitboxes themselves are also decreased in size. And even though we did strike the 5 times in the example that I was just demonstrating here, it is possible to strike some of the multipliers, but not all of them. So for example, I have at various points like only hit the 2 times here or only hit the 3 times instead of getting the 5 times. Obviously, you want the 5 times just because it's more point worthy that way. So it's just a pretty interesting thing overall. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to advance it frame by frame here, which is a nice little feature that the devs included in the replay. So we can see the flake here, max coming down, and here comes the hitbox. So we just struck the 2 times, and now that's gone. And now we struck the 3 times, and that's gone. And there we struck the 5 times. It actually made 2 sounds there for some reason. I'm not sure why. And then we landed on this next frame right here. Right there. So as soon as we hit this, we're just going to void back out in bounds. You can see the white starting to flash. I'm advancing several frames here. And then we're back in bounds like that. So the next thing I'm going to show off about this game is something that is present on every level, and there's at least 2 of them on every level in the game. And remember, there are 10 levels in the game. So this is what we call a wormhole, and these are present in multiple SSX games, not just SSX Tricky. And wormholes are used to great effect because they allow you to circumvent basically going down the course in any normal fashion. So all I'm going to do here is essentially go out of bounds, and we're just going to fall down the level here. And I'm not going to show off every wormhole in the game because that video would be way too long. So I'm just going to show off one and you can get the idea. So again, we're just going to grind a rail here and it's just going to take us out of bounds and we're just going to fall. So if we look on the left side of the screen, you can see the character progression here, and you will see a checkpoint zooming past here momentarily. And that shows you that you are making progress down the level here. Waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting, and we're waiting. And if you're racing, you're counting the seconds. Although this particular wormhole isn't used. Okay, so we just saw the checkpoint pass by there. Just a little bit longer. Now, if I stay in the wormhole, the game will void me out. And very interestingly, like that. Now, very interestingly, when the game voids us out, I'm going to turn up the game volume here, because you will notice that there is actually no longer any music, but there will still be sound effects. And the only way to get the music back is to reset the console. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to show off about this game isn't something that's native to any level in particular. This is just a characteristic of the game overall. And that's what's known as a bounce. So with a bounce in this game, if you are going a slow enough speed and board side down to a rail, you will essentially bounce along it, but the end result of this is that you will be able to get more airtime, and if you're in the middle of doing an Uber trick, you can potentially incur enough air to actually finish that Uber trick. And this is really important if you've ever seen any of Kellicat's tasks, because what he does is he uses this feature of the game, the bounce, to extend the life of his tricks when he hits multipliers, and is thus able to get much higher scores. Yeah, board at least perpendicular to the surface you want to be on. Okay, so this is what the bounce looks like. So you can see we're still doing the walking the dog, and then we eventually landed it. One more time. And see there, the game recognized that we were stuck, and so the game actually auto-warped me out there. But the bouncing is a really important feature, and you can do a bounce on pretty much any surface, but with square rails, it's the best just because like they won't push you anywhere.
Welcome to Mesablanca, Sierra.
Anyway, okay, so now we're here on the Mesablanca, and there's 2 shortcuts here in the beginning that I want to show off. So with the first one here, as Kellicat just told me, that all 3 of the competitive race modes will actually use this first shortcut here. And it's right here in between these rocks. It's just kind of tucked away. So if you continue onwards there, it's actually one of the fastest routes to get through that area and down. So the second one that I'm going to show off here is kind of hidden in the beginning, and you have to really know about it to utilize it. So it's actually, we're just going to go right over here, and we're going to just jump right up here. And now you can see there's just a completely different path going this way. And this will actually lead us to a 2 times multiplier, which is right over here. Okay, so this next thing that I'm going to demonstrate about Mesablanca is something that I actually found in the game. And in order to do this, I am going to raise the volume of the game here. You can see, I'm going to hit this tree here. As you can hear, when we hit these trees, they make a wooden sound. But there's a tree, I believe it's this one. Yep, you can hear it there. It actually makes a metal sound for some reason. For just no reason at all. It's just a metal tree. See, when we hit the trunk of it, you don't really hear it, but if we hit the leaves, you can definitely tell. Okay, so one of the cool things that Kellicat just showed me about this game is that there's actually a couple trees here that really have no collision to them. Just gonna try and ride through the dead center of one right here. Whee! So something that's interesting about this section of Mesablanca is that the crowd here, you can bounce off of them, and we can actually use that to our advantage. So the reason why the bouncing is so important here is because it allows you to add in potentially up to a couple extra Uber moves, with which, when combined with the multiplier, just really bumps your score up very high. Let's see if I can get it here. This is a little bit tricky, no pun intended. Nice, got him. Like that. Crowd surfing.
This is the Merquery City Meltdown.
So now we're in Merquery City Meltdown, and Merquery City has so many shortcuts in it. I've really tried to narrow them down to a couple that I think are really hidden and or interesting. Okay, so there's a couple shortcuts here that I want to show off. So the first one that we're going to go is just the classic UFO line. So as always, the glass pane is denoting the shortcut entrance here. And there's the UFO right over there, and we're going to get to it by jumping over to this building and circle around. Just going to boost off, and then it's going to drop us in the forest right over here. Okay, so what I'm going to show off here is next to the parking garage, there's actually a slot in between the 2 buildings here, and we can jump on it and then come over to a section of non-developed space, aka out of bounds, and we can just fall off here into another wormhole here. And this is one of the most useful wormholes in the game. The competitive race route with wormholes actually does use this particular wormhole. Okay, so as we come up to the parking garage here, I just want to show off one more shortcut line that's in this area. And before we get there, something cool about the parking garage is that you can jump up to the other levels. And in fact, it's even possible to jump up to a level one up from this one as well. There's nothing really like that interesting up here. It's kind of hard to control your character while you're here. But just a neat little fact about the game. So instead of going to the left to the UFO, we're going to come to the right and follow this rail here, and then it's going to break here, and we got to jump here, and then we got to jump again. Woo, we almost didn't make it there. And now we're going to take this rail, and it's going to bring us over to this central building here, and I'm actually going to slow down when we get here because I also want to take this rail, and you can see that there's actually even another rail that brings us to this building right here. And then you can jump to this building right here. And basically, it's just a nice little extended shortcut line. And ultimately, it just brings you down to this area over here, which is kind of off the beaten trail. And this is the beginning of the woods section where the UFO takes you. And we're going to come back and revisit this area in just a second. Okay, so something that I want to show off. Earlier in Garibaldi, we listened to the secret music that plays when you hit certain shortcuts. So sometimes when you hit other shortcuts or interesting things that the dev wanted you to find, there is a separate sound, which is a wolf howling. So I'm going to turn up the game volume here. I'm going to turn down the music volume and the character speech here. And so once we get just a little bit past these trash cans here on the right, you're going to hear a wolf howling here. Here we go. That makes an appearance in some other places in the game. So one of the neat things about this area is this is where the boats are. And so the boats are these two little shortcut jumps that the game included. Let's get a quick look at them here. From the bridge vantage. You can see it, it's actually kind of down there to the right, trying to get the camera to cooperate. You can see the boat there. And now if we just fall down to this area normally, once we hit this ice, the game's just going to void us out. But it is possible to get on those boats. All right, we got on the boat. Okay, so this is the boat. And the boat is really weird because the collision is all kinds of messed up here. So I'm going to try and give a small tour around the boat. So that container just has no collision. And just everything here is just kind of wonky. The hitboxes are really wonky. I'm gonna be on Sports Page! Okay, so now that we've explored the boat, we're going to get on the conveyor belt here, which will give us some momentum. As you can see, the game kind of picked us up there and just pushes you back here onto the bridge. Now, normally you'd be able to get that 5 times there, but I kind of borked it. Something else that's interesting about this area is if we take a look off here to the side, down to the ice river. Now, normally all of that terrain would reset you. However, you can see it right here in front of the lamp that there is a mound of snow there. So the reason why this mound of snow is important is because when you are on the bridge, you can jump off at a specific angle, hit the 5 times multiplier that was originally intended to be for the boat there, and perform an uber move right onto the mound of snow, thus increasing your score by a good bit. And the mound of snow you can actually land on, specifically just that. But you can see as soon as we get here, we kind of clip through the bottom and it just resets us. Okay, so we're going to try to get in the sewer line here. And the sewer line is one of the most hidden shortcuts in the entire game. So I'm going to try and get into it here. Yes, all right. So this is the sewer line. And as you can see, there was a breakable object that we needed to get into there. And then obviously there was no sign to indicate that it was here. So there's a couple parts to it. There's the first part with the spinning fans here. But then we exit into the ice cave area. In this area, you really get pinballed a lot because it's such a narrow path to traverse down here, and then the ice path just lets you out here, which takes you into the forest section. Something interesting that I just learned while making this video, because I'm streaming it live on Twitch, and Kellicat is in the chat right now, is there's a series of trash cans down this shortcut here that are set up like a 10-pin bowling setup, and if you hit all 10, a sign will illuminate that has the word strike on it. And I knew about the trash cans, and there was kind of a challenge a long time ago by a runner named Master 9000 to get a strike on all of these trash cans. However, I did not know that the sign illuminated with the word strike, so let's see if we can get it here. Yeah, there we go. Hit them all. And you can see that this sign now is illuminated with the word strike there. So something interesting is that there's a there's a shortcut over here, but you can also actually clip into the side here, like that. And then you just clip back in bounds. Whoa! So this next thing that I want to show off here, hopefully I can get it, is if you crash into this wall with enough speed, we'll just clip through it. Like that. And then we're actually going to hopefully... Nope. I was going to try it. You can actually clip back in bounds right there. But you can just clip straight out of bounds there if you just hit that wall with enough speed.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Tokyo Megaplex.
Okay, so the first thing, the very most definite thing I want to explain about Tokyo are the fans here. So the fans in this game push you up. And this level is very unique in that it has the highest score ceiling of any level in the game. The technical world record is 15 million. Now, you'll see displayed on my screen that I have the world record listed as 5 million. And that's not true. The reason why I put 5 million there is because I don't play this category with the exploit of this game that allows you to achieve such a high score, which is what I'm about to demonstrate here, which is known as the fan glitch. And that's what the NFG stands for beneath the header Tokyo Megaplex on my overlay here. So the fan glitch, basically what is going to happen here, what I'm going to try to show off is I'm going to get into one of these fans at a specific angle. It's going to push me up, and then I'm going to be able to go up and down endlessly. And on the process, we're going to strike a 5 times multiplier. So now I'm going to try and demonstrate it. So we're going to line up this fan right about there. Okay, so I failed it there. And we should land outside the fan. I was probably going a bit too fast into it. You need to have a specific angle and a specific speed. So it's this fan at roughly about the 7 o'clock position on a clock. I don't know about this. No, we're outside. So the world record is not 5 million flat for this category, but the reason why I have it listed as such... Okay, we got it again. Nice. Oh, we were close. But you get the idea. It is possible to enter at such an angle that you just stay up and down continuously. But the no fan glitch record, because that's the category that I compete in, like this, there's not really like an official record kept of that category. So I just kind of like go off of what I believe it to be, like somewhere around. Like I know players of that caliber have, like of that score caliber, have played. So yeah. So we just go up and down here, and then let's see if we can do it here. We might not be able to. Yeah, we're kind of there. So the thing is there's a second part to this, which is now we need to angle our board to get out of it. And that is not necessarily as easy as it sounds. Good time to show off the trick. This is what trick canceling looks like. Like I'm not doing anything, but the score just keeps going up and up and up. But it is possible to do this and then tilt your board in such a way that you land outside of the area of effect. Score's just still going up. It was here that the chat noticed that even though we had already received the time up from the game, that the score would just continue to rise and rise. And so just for fun, we decided to see how long we could tolerate the score just going up and up and up. So here you're going to see the score jump from roughly 333,000 to 1,243,000. Yes, yes. Seems like yes is winning. Okay, let's do some other things. This is a good meme, but I think I've had enough. So the thing I'm about to show off is a glitch to get to the end of Tokyo like really, really quickly. Tokyo, in addition to having the highest score because of the fan glitch, also has the shortest race time, because there's actually a couple ways to manipulate getting to the ending of Tokyo right away, because Tokyo is unique in that you do laps of this level, and essentially the finish line is like very, very close to the start. So hopefully I'm going to be demonstrating one of the ways here to get to the end. There is another way I'd like to show you, but it's actually pretty difficult to do, and I don't think I could like reliably do it on like in a timely manner. So I'm gonna try to do one of them here. All we're gonna do is enter the tunnel, the wind tunnel, and we're going to spam reset as much as we can when we get to the top here. Yep. So that's how we got it. We just get first place in 25 seconds. Just an easy gold.
The titan of all tracks, the Aloha Ice Jam.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to show off in Aloha Ice Jam is there is a jump in Aloha Ice Jam that is actually the longest jump in the whole game. You can do the most number of Uber moves in this jump. Most jumps the maximum amount of Ubers you can do is 4. But on this level, there is actually a jump where you can do 11 or 12 right in a row. And I'm going to be trying to show that off here. So first what we need is a setup. Down to this area. There we go. Onto the rail. See, now we're going much faster up the course. That's really important here. Come on, dude, don't lose my speed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to grab this rail, sling to the left, and then we're going to jump off. And now we're just going to fall through space. However, the course is going to reappear below us, and we are going to land back in bounds. And that's how you do that. It's the biggest jump in the whole game. 11 or 12 Ubers if you do everything like absolutely perfectly. I'm gonna see if I can show off one thing, which is like one of the hardest shortcuts in the whole level. We're just gonna keep going. get the falling multiplier, which I do think is one of the hardest to get in the whole game. We have to first come down Penguin Alley. Try not to hit too many of them. Now we're coming up to a billboard. No, so close, dude. Oh man, let's try that. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. All right. Let's get serious here. Oh, we managed to not hit any of the penguins. Thank goodness. All right, we touched it. Okay, that's the point. We touched it. We got it. It only took like 10 attempts and we didn't get any points off of it, but we got it.
Welcome to Alaska.
So what I'm going to show here is unique to Alaska in this game, and that is that there are rails that you can actually grind and earn points on, except they are what I would call natural feature rails. So that's what I'm going to be showing off in this clip, is you're going to see a sort of peak of ice that we're going to be grinding on and receiving points for. This is a concept that they would go on to expand upon in SSX 3. Yeah, so there's a couple really cool examples of these in Alaska, and one of them is if you just go up to the ice there, you'll just start grinding on a rail. It's kind of a hidden rail, and it brings you to this nice little shortcut. Pretty well-known shortcut. This shortcut is actually used in some of the race categories because it is actually a pretty fast way to traverse through this area. Oh, no. Messed it up there. But that's okay. That's all I really wanted to show off about that area. Oh, next I'm going to show off, kind of like in Aloha Ice Jam, there's like a really esoteric 5x multiplier, like way out of the way, that we just like painfully got. This next one is not nearly as painful to get, but it is pretty out of the way. It doesn't really have a use at all, like in any context, but we're going to get it just to show it off. It's not especially crazy, but it is, in my opinion, kind of interesting. So first what we want to do is get over to this rail over here. I'm just going to rebuild my meter very quickly. No. Oh, nope. We hugged the wall there. I don't care about making the next checkpoint, so it doesn't matter too much. Oh, you little Bork. Okay, here we go. So we're on this rail, and now we're pointed towards the billboard, and we're going to try and jump here to this rail, and then we're going to grab that guy right there. Darn, I want to try that again. 1 million attempts later. Okay. Okay, so we're on this rail. We try. Oh, we did it. I'm not even going to jump this time. So we just slide along this rail, and I guess that 5x is just for that rail there. And it's like, what is the point of that? The next thing I want to demonstrate about Alaska, so I'm going to try for it here. I'm not probably going to get this. I'm not going to try and get it again. Nah, I missed it. So that billboard right there can actually crash the game if you bump into it. I guess in like a certain manner. It only happens like once in every 100 playthroughs. It's pretty rare, but it can happen. It's hard to explain what happens. It looks like the screen kind of visually cracks, and it's just kind of like you just hear sounds, but it sounds like you're just floating in midair, and that's it. Okay, so we're coming up to this area of Alaska, and there's a couple things to show off here. So the first thing I'm going to be showing off is we're going to be looking at a multiplier And I say looking because we're not going to touch it because it's the only multiplier in the entirety of single player that is impossible to get. So we're on this ice ramp here, and we can see that there's a 3 times and a 5 times right above it. And it's going to look like we're just barely missing the 5 times here, like that. But the truth is that multiplier is actually impossible to get in single player because it just is. I don't know why it is, but it is. Mac, the character we're playing now, has the highest jump height in the game, which is a hidden statistic that they don't give you in the game. And it's just not possible to reach that 5 times multiplier with Mac. Now, it is possible to play 2-player and to have one character underneath the other, and they can, like, knock the character up into the 5 times, but that's the only way to get that 5 times. And until I think Kellicat proved that that was true, it was thought to be just impossible to get. For the longest time, it was just the last possible flake to get in the game. So what I'm about to show you, like I said, is one of the most astonishing things in this game. So we're looking forward here. Okay, let me just try and do it like this. We're looking forward here, and we say to ourselves, okay, there's a ramp coming, there's a 2 times, there's some snowbanks over here, and a wall. But the thing about this wall is that it's not actually connected to the ground, and there's actually just a hole in the wall that leads to the outside of the game space here. And I'm not sure if they meant to leave this in, if it was a mistake, if it's like an Easter egg. I really don't know. But what I can say is that it is certainly an optical illusion, because if we look at the wall where the hole is, which is right here, it looks like that's connected to the ground. But it isn't. And there's also this little, snow bank that we can ride along here. And this is why I wanted to max out my meter before we got back here. You can see, some of the level, and we can, go behind over here and down like that. And it's just why is this? So we look at these other guys, and it's like, oh, that connects to the wall. This connects to the wall. This does too. But then just for some reason here, it just doesn't. And who knows why? I don't know why. I mean, I think it's cool. It's a cool little Easter egg, I guess. It's hard to tell whether or not it's a mistake or if it was on purpose. I choose to believe it was on purpose. Don't you dare. Thank you. All right, there we go. Okay. So in this game, something that isn't taught to the player is that there are actually 2 types of crouching in this game. And this is really important for a couple reasons. So the first type of crouching is very intuitive to the player, which is just holding the jump button. We can see Mac is in the crouch position here, and we also have a more difficult time turning, such as this. I can't make as sharp a turns. For example, if I'm not in the crouch position, right, and I'm going down, and I just hard left here, we just do a Yui, like that, right? So when you hold the crouch, when you hold A, your character is locked, they are going to jump unless you bail, right? So for example, we can do this and kind of go back up the course this way. And this is another thing that I wanted to demonstrate in this area, which is the power of ice in this game. So ice, snow, deep snow, all have different properties in this game. So this is a regular snow area that I'm on right now, and then this is an ice patch area. And then actually off over to the side here, we have medium powder. And there's not really heavy powder directly in this area, but heavy powder would really just slow you down a lot. So as I already said, that you just crouch and hold A, and then those red streaks behind me are boost, right? And we can kind of go back up the course this way, but eventually the course gets too steep, and we start going back down the level like this, right? So the other reason why it's important that there's two types of crouch in this game is because the other crouching version is simply holding forward with the joystick. And that looks the same at first. Hang on. Crouching with the joystick looks the same at first, like this, except now we can turn very sharply, okay? So, but maintaining the crouch position, which would increase our speed, like so. Now, the other reason why this is important is because I can simply let go of holding forward as I am here. So if we're holding forward, I'm waiting for Mac, and we get into, so if we hold forward and then we stop holding forward, we can enter and exit the crouch position without jumping, and that helps maintain our speed. Now, like I said, that there are different properties to each of these surfaces, right? Snow and ice. So this is snow, right? And right here, I'm trying to go basically up a straight angle there, but the game won't let us because it's snow. However, ice is a completely different story, and this is where the crouching with the joystick as opposed to the A button becomes kind of a broken mechanic in the game, is that also while you're crouching forward with the joystick, okay, once you hit a certain incline, Mac will start to do this pushing motion here, like that. And the reason why that's important is because Mac will gain speed in this pushing animation. And furthermore, if you combine all these properties together with the property of ice, you can do ridiculous things like this, such as going up basically 90-degree angles in this game. Like here comes one right now. I'm just going to hold forward. That's all I'm doing. I'm literally just holding straight forward, and we're able to propel ourselves up what is essentially a 90-degree angle in this game. And you can use this to your advantage so much so that you can, at several points, make your way all the way back to the beginning of levels. Now, this is another property of ice here. So right now I'm just like struggling to turn around, and that's because holding extremely to the side is much, much harder. It's much harder to do a complete U-turn on the ice than it isn't. So now we've made our way back to this area up here, which we normally wouldn't be able to if we didn't have any ice at our disposal. And now I'm going to try and just completely work my way back to the beginning of Alaska, all the way where we started. And again, this is primarily using the crouch forward with the joystick. And this, knowing when to push forward with the joystick and when to crouch with the jump button is really important, especially in competitive show-off, which is what I primarily play. So you can see we're just pushing ourselves and pushing ourselves, and it's because of this pushing animation that we don't start falling back down the level. Almost there. If you recall correctly about holding forward slowly depletes your boost. I can't confirm that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was accurate. And so here we are all the way back at the very, very, very beginning of Alaska. There's the platform where you jump off of. And that's how you get back up. Going backwards on a level is really important because you have to go back for more valuable multipliers a lot. It's so hard to see. Okay, so another thing we can do here, which I'm going to try and demonstrate, is we can ride up these walls near vertically because this entire cave is made of ice. So I'm going to try and do that here. Nope. It's hard. You got to stick, like, your board will get magneted to it because that's the property of surfaces in this game, like this. Go. Go, 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 go. Oh, oh. Okay, so the man in the ice is right there to the left. So this is one of two secrets, the other one being the trash can bowling on Mercury City, that I did not know about before recording this video. I'm actually quite shocked that I never realized that this was there. However, thankfully, members of my chat pointed it out to me, so thank you, chat, for that. Also, one last little bit of information, the man in the ice is supposedly one of the developers of this game. Oh, there it is. It's right there. Here we go. It's Jesus Christ. Freak style? Is that that's a separate game? That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, there it is. The man trapped in the ice in the Alaska cave. That's pretty wild.
Let's get crazy on the Pipedream.
Okay, so really the only thing that I want to show off about Pipedream, because the thing about Pipedream is a really cool level, but there's not too many secrets on it. Because it's very small. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try and jump over this wall right here, which is possible. Oh, nope, I didn't get enough horizontal momentum. Brody is, but only for certain levels, because there are some levels that require... The thing about Brody is technically the fastest character in the game. However, he is not very good at turning because of his board type. So in levels where you have to like turn very aggressively, Elise is actually the preferred racer. All right, there we go. We did it. So yeah, so you can just jump over the far wall there. Just enter the out of bounds. I always think that's just like a fun little neat thing. All right, now let's go break all of the glass panes in the final half pipe. And then after that, we're going to move on to Untracked. There's only a couple things to show off in Untracked. I'm not exactly sure how many targets there are. I think it's like 20. Ooh, thought. So that's monster jumping there. So I just wanted to expand upon what I just mentioned right there. So monster jumping is a feature that was designed for this game, and we know it was designed for the game because there are several multipliers throughout the game that are unachievable without it. So basically what it is as you're approaching the lip of a half pipe, the game has a mechanic inside of it that will pull you up some of the way, and using this momentum plus your own speed, if you jump at the last possible second while going off of a half pipe lip, you will jump much, much higher than you might be able to normally. The earlier your jump timing, the less height that you're going to gain. Ideally, you want to wait until truly the last possible frame to gain the most amount of height. Doing those really super high jumps. And they're a little bit hard to time. They're not the easiest thing in the world. That's why I usually warm up on Pipedream. Yeah, that was a monster jump. It's a pretty low one, though. You can go really, really high. So when we break all the targets, there should be a fireworks display. There we go. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. That's a good one, too. Good enough. Because they put some multipliers out of reach unless you hit it. That should do it. Okay. Do it. No, dude, just one more. There we go. That should be it. Yep. Yeah, there you go. Woo! That's it. That's all that happens, is those little fireworks there. Yay! We did it! Woo! All that effort. So just quickly, I wanted to clarify that this was another attempt at jumping out of bounds via the half pipe halfway through the level. I thought this one had some interesting results and we got a good look at the underside of the level, so I wanted to include it here and an explanation as to what we were doing since I thought it was a little confusing while I was editing this video. Here, you know what? Let's actually let's take a look here. And so this is the free rotate camera in the game. Just kind of taking a look around what's outside of bounds here. Wonder if you can like actually land on that surface over there. Probably not. But I never seen that before. Yeah, no, I actually forgot about that until you mentioned it. So here we can see the underside of Pipedream quite a bit. It looks cool underneath, especially the pools, like the pools over there. I think that looks pretty cool. Yeah. Need to have an HD remix of this game. I completely agree. But yeah, so this is the underside of Pipedream. Just trying to see how far we went down. So yeah, it's a short level. It's the shortest level, actually. I mean, in terms of distance, Tokyo can be done in a faster race time, but yeah. Whoa, that was weird. Whoa, we're all upside down inside Mac's character model. Whoa.
Untracked, unmapped, unbelievable. This is the cherry on top. Chew it slowly.
Times since I played Untracked. Untracked is a weird level because most of it is powder. As you will see, though, there are a couple instances of different types of terrain. It's weird. There's a lot of weird seams in Untracked. Also, if you never knew, you can grind these trees. Well, some of them anyway. This one you can. Like that. So the thing about Untracked is, so it splits into 3 areas. There's an area to the right, an area to the left, and then an area in the center. And we're going to be going into the center area here. The center area has the biggest jumps in the whole level, and is, in my opinion, just generally the coolest place. And of course, the music in this level is incredible, just absolute top tier. Okay, so the first thing I want to show off, I'm going to raise the game volume here because there's a special jump in this game. So this is the center area where there are a lot of really big jumps. We can kind of see the left area over there, and then the right area is pretty much just like a pretty big like crevice essentially. And so if you make your way through the center area, we will find the quote-unquote secret jump. It's not actually secret. It's not actually secret, but the game kind of considers it a secret. So I'm going to turn up the game volume here, and I'm going to turn and despite the music is amazing, we're going to turn it back in just a second here, but I'm actually going to turn it down as well as the character speech here, because I want to show you guys that where the secret happens, and when it happens, you will hear a wolf howl in the background. So here it comes. There's the wolf. This is the biggest jump in the whole level right here. So what I'm demonstrating here is similar to the physics that we were looking in at Alaska, where we're going back up the course. So unlike in Alaska, where I was showing you the power of ice, powder also has its own properties. So here I'm demonstrating that powder has a lot of traction to it, and it also can help you get back up the level quite easily, even if it's not as useful as going back up with an ice patch. And you can see that the powder has just so much traction to it. And if you have the right angle, you can go back up like extremely steep areas. I'm going to head over to the left. It's a little bit less steep over here. It's just going to make getting back easier. Also, we want to be on this side of the track. This might be a little bit too steep here. And so here you can see the difference between the properties of ice versus powder, because if this was an ice patch, we'd be able to continue going further back up the level. Okay, so this is the center area again, and this is the beginning, and there's a deep chasm right over here, right, and we're about to fall into it right here. And what I'm about to show you, I actually was the discoverer of this. So if we turn around in the deep chasm and then we again use the pushing forward joystick, you will actually notice that just like in Alaska, there is a hole in the wall right here. It's a little hard to get into, so I'm going to try my best to get into it. But this is the second hole in the wall in the game. And I just kind of found this borking around one night. And what's crazy is this hole in the wall is actually used in a method of race in Untracked currently. It requires such an incredibly precise angle, it's basically no fun at all. Here we go. All right, we're inside the hole in the wall here. You can see it's pretty steep in there, and we just got popped back up in bounds. I'm going to try and do it one more time and see if we can see a little bit more of the out of bounds area. We'll have a couple minutes. Come on, Adam. Oh, do it. Yes, here we go. Oh, yeah. So you can see there's like a crack. So I just wanted to pause one of the frames of the videos here so we could get a good look at what the out of bounds of this part of Untracked looks like, because it just goes by so quickly in the video. So what you can see here is that you can see two of the paths, the ice area to the left and the center path of Untracked on the right, and that in between them there is just this void space. You can also see that there is sections of powder snow that you could potentially ride along on the outside of the wall, but because they're so narrow and hard to control, it's unlikely that you'd be able to do anything significant with it. Back there, and then it's just a crevice, and then you just fall out of bounds. Well, that's it for today. If you like this video, please consider subscribing or following me on my Twitch page to enjoy some more SSX action. If you'd also like to get in touch with the SSX community at large, come join us in the SSX Discord, which I've posted the link down below. Hope to see you again in the future, and if there's any other types of videos that you'd like me to make featuring SSX Tricky, just leave a comment below. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks again for watching, and if you want to check out my other projects, don't forget to watch my other videos, including a 500-hour time-lapse of one of the biggest art projects I've ever worked on. Thanks again.